Lori? Thank you.
Yes, good evening. Good evening, everyone in the audience. There's just a few seats remaining, so if you plan on coming, we'll find you a seat. We'll find you a seat. We have a few seats remaining. Before we get started, I want to introduce our technician in training. Actually, he's our employee at Cataract, but James Patterson. Welcome, James. Via Yonkers, New York, to the district. He is Miss Dunn. And in case Tommy is ever, if he doesn't make me look good, if he has a bad camera angle on us, James is right there. Right, James? So welcome, James. We're glad you're with us and glad you're here. We'll try and make it really exciting for you. All right? Members of the board, we have three pre-board meeting topics. We do have to vote at 7 p.m. this evening. Also, board members, at 7 p.m., we have a video and 2 student presentations. They're thank you presentations from Niagara Falls High School. Also, board, there is no need tonight for an executive session. So, but we do have a jam-packed agenda. And let's jump right to it. At 4 o'clock this afternoon, our audit committee met. The purpose of the audit committee meeting this evening, and I know Mr. Villardo, Ms. Dunn were present along with members of the audit committee, was to ask the audit committee to accept, question, or reject the internal audit that was just performed by Bonadeo. These are our internal auditors. What happens in an internal audit is the auditors, Bonadeo, meets with the audit committee, and they did this a number of months ago. We try to establish an area where we believe we have some vulnerabilities or we have not had looked at in many, many years. The area that was chosen by the audit committee was around the district's fixed assets. The audit committee did accept the audit recommendation. This recommendation will be on your board agenda at 7 o'clock. I believe it is 6.03. We have to ask you to vote for it tonight and hopefully approve it, because if you approve it, and I'm recommending it to you, tomorrow morning, Becky and Julie have to get on the computer and forward the audit cap to the New York State Education Department. It is due by April 30th. And we do have a cap, meaning we do have 3 items to correct, and that has to be submitted in our audit portal. Before we do that, I just want to digress 1 second and tell you that the audit committee also reviewed the internal claims audit. That's Denise Kobler, who does our internal claims audit by the month. And what we presented were the months of December, January, and February. We had a total of $1,219 worth of claims that totaled $24,440,000 in expenditures. And during those months, we found 1 confirming order, 1 out of 1,219 packages. The confirming order was for the amount of $858. It did not involve the mismanagement of money. It was an error in following process in putting in a field trip with a PO ahead of the trip occurring. And that is called a confirmatory, and we are in the process of eliminating them all, and we pride ourselves on not having any, but for 3 months, it was reported we did have 1 confirmatory in the month of February for $858, and Ms. Holliday has addressed that with the school from which it came. Now, moving forth to this audit, and I'm going to let Becky describe the cap of what happened. The focus was our fixed assets. These are assets that the district purchases and become part of our total financial picture and part of what we are responsible to the taxpayers for knowing where they are, where they're located by building, and recording them in a system so we know how much it is, and that if questioned by a taxpayer or anyone, where is that truck? Where is that floor scrubber? Where is whatever? We could go to our log and point out the location, the purpose, and the lifespan of that piece of equipment. That's what fixed assets are in my interpretation of it. Rebecca, take it away.
Okay, thank you very much. There was a good summary, and again, Bonadeo did look at fixed assets and also took a look at capital projects processes, because within capital projects, the work done there ends up as a fixed asset. Okay, it ends up in that area. And because we have a capital project right now through our ARPA funding. So the first area they looked at were they reviewed policies, policies pertaining to assets and our record keeping of the assets. They did notice exceptions where there was a policy 5260 says that supplies and equipment purchased and received by the school district shall be checked, logged, and stored through an established procedure, but the policy does not reference that procedure, does not specifically state what that is. Then they go on to say that the policies and procedures do not include documented internal procedures. So our CAP, our corrective action plan for that area, is that we are meeting to formulate a process in which it'll be all-inclusive, the receipt, tagging, tracking, and recording of the fixed asset, including the disposition of them, the disposal of assets when they've reached their useful life. That meeting, we had our initial meeting last week. We're going to work on it and develop a written procedure, and then the policies will be updated accordingly.
So let me jump in and just try to explain it in my terms, because Becky did it in a very audit-friendly way, is that we purchase a lot of things. Upon purchase of those assets, something that we need to do a better job of, as I listen to that, is to immediately tag the asset, to immediately record the asset, to check our log to make sure that anything that has been discarded through an auction, a sale, what have you, is removed from the list, and that we look at our policies so that they accurately reflect that procedure. On top of that, that we clearly delineate who is the chain of command for making sure that this happens. And unless I'm getting ahead of you, Becky, we have board members and public, we have engaged an outside company through Questar. It's a BOCES reimbursable service that I'd prefer you speak about now.
Okay, because one of the recommendations is that a third party perform a full asset valuation to give us a starting point from which we'll build on. And so we have engaged the services of Questar 3 BOCES. Asset Works performs that service with BOCES, through BOCES. And we've done our cross-contract with them. We don't have our kickoff meeting scheduled yet, but they have all of our documentation. They've been sent all of our documentation electronically. So they're reviewing it. They'll have a kickoff meeting with us. They will go through the district, create a brand new asset list. Very comprehensive service. Then from that point, we will have access to their software. We will have user IDs and stuff. And then in our process, we will determine who is going to work in that software to do the updates, the additions, deletions, et cetera.
Right. So this is an outside third-party company approved by BOCES, vetted by the state. Now, the other thing I want to point out to you is that Becky, Julie, and I had a conversation about the threshold for what should and shouldn't be tagged. I'm recommending, and I think that Julie and Becky agree, that we're going to use about a $500 threshold. Is that what we agreed on, or was it $1,000?
The $500 threshold is a good starting point for an all-inclusive baseline inventory. And then, obviously, the threshold is different for what we capitalize in our financial statements, et cetera. But this at least is a good starting place. I think we will capture most of the assets, most of the items we are concerned with.
The examples we used in the audit committee where we just purchased a real large number of walkie-talkies, they were under, you know, we want to capture things like that.
Right.
Earl has captured or purchased a lot of maintenance equipment that ranges in that $500 to $1,000 range or more. Again, I'm not picking on Earl or maintenance, or I'm not picking on the walkie-talkies, but those are the kind of things that are very portable, if you know what I'm saying, and we want to make sure we know where all those portable items are or should be at all times.
Okay, and further in their testing, they tested funding sources and project budgets. They found no exceptions. They tested completed capital projects, found no exceptions. They tested our financial reporting of assets, our depreciation and the fixed assets, and there were no exceptions noted there. Then when they actually tested the fixed asset listing, there were exceptions. This is where they noted that assets are not recorded at the time of acquisition. And when we make that purchase, we're not putting that asset on the books at that time. And then they just looked at like some asset numbers weren't there. And I mean, this is a historical listing that we have. So they recommend that we promptly organize an inventory overseen by the third party, which obviously we have already done. We've started the process. Yes.
Question. Computers, iPads, or those are things that could walk very easily. Are we tracking those now?
Ray's department tracks them, and he can speak to it, but they do a great job.
So I guess what we're looking at is we do have controls.
Oh, yes.
I just want to make sure the public knows.
Right.
We know where things are. They want them logged immediately when we take possession.
Right.
I just don't want anyone to think we don't, you know, we know where the things are.
Yes.
And I think that the statement the auditor made, Russ, because it's a good point, is that for every day or days you lag time it, the possibility exists that you could forget to do it. And sometimes we don't do it immediately upon purchase.
Thank you.
Ray, how do you do it?
Yeah, we use a system called Incident IQ. It kind of doubles as our work order system and inventory management. For example, for these two devices here, what Tommy is using for live streaming, when I log on, I gain ownership of this device. So in this system, it'll show Thursday at 4:30, I'm the owner. Throughout the district, whomever logs on to that will acquire ownership. When we have surplus, it's identified as a physical inventory by text. So nothing's perfect, but it's a certainly reasonable system.
Good question. Beck, go ahead.
Thank you. Then we go on. So again, we've, to meet the recommendation of the auditors, we have contracted with Questar 3. And again, a big part of this whole thing is formulating a written procedure, which we are in the process of doing. The next area that they tested were fixed asset tags and their physical location, and they did note some exceptions in that area as well. Not all assets were tagged per policy at time of acquisition, and some assets were not located where they were on our historical listing. And again, they recommend that we get the third party in to do a full asset valuation and tracking. That is been, we've engaged them, and that will be part of our written procedure, is when items are moved, who is going to be responsible for notifying who, and they will make the changes in the asset listing. So overall, I'd say it was a very productive audit. These are items we knew that we needed to take a look at, and so I'm really grateful that they brought this up, and we were able to engage Asset Works as quickly as we did, so.
What is the cost of that contract to log everything?
The initial inventory is about $80,000, but it is an aidable service through BOCES. In the subsequent years, all we're paying for is access to the software because we will be maintaining that. And that is about $4,400 next year.
And just so I'm clear and open and honest with you, when we set the threshold lower,
The price went up.
the price went up, right? So I made a recommendation that we set a lower threshold, and in doing so, we went from 49,000 to your question, Mr.
Yes.
Petrosi, to 80,000 because of more items.
Yes.
But again, it's BOCES reimbursable,
Yes.
so we'll get that money back in the next year, and we'll have better protection over smaller things that could move around. That was the thinking. Let's do it right. Let's get a clean database once and for all. I want to tell the listening public that this is not a result of any missing items, missing furniture, misplaced money. It's just a good practice so that we know we're spending taxpayer money, and we know that we can identify the purchase to the taxpayer money and exactly where it is. And Becky made a good point of something that that this will help us with, and that we have to do better. We've purchased pre-K classrooms. It's a program we purchase, classroom in a box. And if we have to move a pre-K classroom from Cataract to Hyde Park, we move all the furniture to Hyde Park, right? But what we didn't do is go into the and say that furniture is now at Hyde Park. It's asset tagged at Cataract, but the next step is to say if you're looking for that classroom in a box, it is now at Hyde Park. And that's where, for the listening public, we need a little, I'd say tune-up, tweaking, and we need to get back to a baseline. And there is certainly not available staff, one, to walk around and do this, and two, I don't want the staff tagging our own stuff. I want an outside company tagging their stuff for obvious secondary reasons, right? Of course, Earl wouldn't do this, but if he had to do it all, somebody would say, well, of course, Earl's not going to find anything missing. I'd rather engage an outside company, pay for it, and take any notion of anything that could be construed as nefarious out of the process.
Becky, how often do they recommend a full asset check?
They didn't say specifically. I think we'll learn more when we have our first meeting with them. But I know we were using a service through our insurance company, and they only come in once every 5 years.
I was thinking-
That's not often enough.
Okay.
So I'm thinking it would be every 2 to 3 years.
Thank you.
I think 5's a little long for the amount
Yes.
we purchase. I would say 2 or 3.
Yes.
Well, I think after we do it the second time, we'll see how accurate we are, of it, then we can make a decision.
Exactly. I think having a new baseline to start and a new written procedure is going to definitely put us in a really good place.
And the question came up in the audit committee about, you authorized $400,000 of musical instruments a couple of years ago. We have, the music teachers, Dr. Wingert, should know where all of his instruments are. They should all be at his school gas gill. He's responsible to the principal to demonstrate he knows where they are. They should all be asset tagged. We should have that database. And if somebody wanted to come and do a spot check on him, aside from the kids having them at home, we should be able to go through his classroom, see where they're all at, and if he's had a student unfortunately misplace or lose one, he needs to report that. I'm picking on you, but he needs to report that to the principal, because it does happen, right? It does happen. But the process needs to be streamlined, so it goes from the teacher to the principal of the school, reporting it to purchasing, and right up the chain to Becky, Julie, and then ultimately to me, because I'm responsible for it. The last thing I will tell you about the process And this process has worked well with other audits. About 6 years ago, we had a bus company audit. We had 8 findings that time. We most recently had an IS audit. Once a month at our Wednesday meeting, it becomes a reoccurring topic. For instance, once a month, Ray reports on all of the education law 2D audit positions that he's in. He shows us where it's at, what he's accomplished, what he's working on. And in that case, he reports on it once a month. I know where we're at. We're down to, I think, only 2 things. Well, once we get multi-factor identification in place for staff, that will knock off a big one. And the only one that's left in the technology audit is they want our students to multi-factor multi-factor when they go into the computer. And yeah, Ray's giving himself the sign of the cross, because can you see a kindergartner using it, doing it? Now, our kindergartners are smart. They probably will and can learn to do it, but that's the only thing we haven't done. My point is, that's how we trail and make sure the audit is adhered to. In conclusion, this will be 6:03 on your voting meeting tonight. If you approve it, Julie and Becky will go into the portal. Is it a portal submission? Yes. And submit it to the government tomorrow, and then it's my responsibility to make sure it's followed. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Thanks, Beck.
We'll see you a little later in the show.
Later in the show.
I didn't think that would happen when I said later in the show. What, is that a song, or did you just harmonize the words?
Harmonizing the words.
Rob, you may have some work to do with certain people. Ms. Massaro, would you come forward? I will do my usual rambling preamble, and then you'll cut right to the chase. How does that work? So,
She's got a lot of papers.
she does. She always does. So, with respect to a policy that you have already once approved, it's called the Workplace Violence Policy. It was really born out of the unions, teachers' unions and other unions. It was born out of another check, more inclusive check, I will say, to make sure that everyone in the workplace is safe. Every area in the workplace or incident in the workplace is reviewed. Every occurrence is documented. And all of our facilities are monitored and reviewed to see if we have any deficiencies that would bring more safety to the school district and its employees and students. Gave the task to Maria to lead in conjunction with her legal knowledge, procedural knowledge, ability to interpret and read the new law. She's done a really, really good job with this. She has engaged over the last 5 months all of the union presidents or their designees in helping to develop this, take feedback, incorporate it into a policy. And I think we're at the point where we are now up on the website, and she will talk to you about this and what we've added to it. And the only thing I will say, like the audit, we now have a district-wide safety committee meeting once a month, and we review this policy as an agenda item each month. In addition to the policy, we report on any raptors, how many Evolve walkthroughs we've had, how many serious instances are reported within the whole procedure. Was that a fair preamble?
Very, very good. Thank you.
Take it away.
Okay. So the Workplace Violence Prevention Program, as Mr. Laurie mentioned, isn't new. It was put into place by the Department of Labor way back when in 2009. It was just this past 2023 that the Department of Labor saw fit, after some lobbying from unions such as the CSEA and NICEP, to make it applicable to public entities and specifically school districts. So what we were tasked with is, as Mr. Laurie mentioned, basically 4 things. We had to have a policy statement, workplace violence prevention policy statement, And if you recall, you adopted that workplace violence prevention policy statement in your December meeting. The next thing we were required to do is perform a risk evaluation of the workplace and determined factors that place employees at risk from occupational assaults. As part of a grant, Mr. Wooten and a team of authorized employee representatives, which consisted of stakeholders from all of our unions, had been conducting this workplace threat assessment evaluation. Which grant was that, Mr. Wooten? I'm sorry. The Stop School Violence Grant. And I know that representatives, I believe did Earl work with you on this? Was he present? I know that Chief Del Porto was present, and again, I know that representatives of our union were present. And they went to every school and came up with information, as Mr. Laurie mentioned, at every school where the risks were and how we could address those risks. That is required to be part of our workplace violence prevention program. The next thing we have to do is figure out how to provide all of our employees with a way to report incidents of workplace violence. We have to develop and maintain a workplace violence incident report, and we have to review all of those incidents at least annually. And we also have to provide training to all new employees and all current employees at least annually. So, as Mr. Laurie mentioned, we have been working with our authorized employee representatives, all of whom have a seat at the table at our district-wide safety committee meetings. So our district determined that the best body to be the one that reviewed our program, who came up with the review of our forms, who wrote our policy statement, and who will monthly rather than annually review incidents of workplace violence would be that committee. So we're very fortunate on that committee to have Mr. Laurie, Mr. Wooten, Mr. Weiss and or his representative, Mr. Marino from ASC, Earl representing NIAS, and the maintenance department, Ryan Mang representing the CSEA unit, Elizabeth York representing the TAL unit, Julie Dorr sits on that as our district PR person. I am on that committee. Mr. Wooten is on that committee. Mr. Surace is on that committee because of incidents that could potentially impact athletics and the athletic trainer. And of course, Mr. Contento, who's the athletic director, is also on that committee. We have another NFT employee representative, Mr. Navaroli, who sits with us. And I think I've mentioned everybody. I don't think
Del Porto?
I did mention Mr. Del Porto.
He's a very big member of the committee.
He is a very big member of the committee.
Jim Combs from BOCES.
Jimmy Combs, yes, I did forget him, our BOCES Safety Risk Manager. So we feel that that's the committee who is best to help us implement this program as we move forward. What you are adopting this evening is our Workplace Violence Prevention Program. This is the program that we're going to follow, God bless you, moving forward. Contained within that program is an outline. The outline of that program is a PowerPoint. Also contained in that is our threat assessment document. Now, the reason that the threat assessment document is not going to be live on the website, everything that we have here is live, is because there are certain things contained in that maybe show points of weakness that will not be broadcast, of course, to the general public. Those are the things that we're going to be working on. We have our Workplace Violence Prevention Program complaint forms, and we have a link. If Ray, if you wouldn't mind scrolling all the way down to the bottom of the page, there's a link down here to Vector. You'll see this link to Vector. In our district, through NICER, we have the ability to create our own trainings, and in creating those trainings, we're able to put them up into this Vector system, and then employees can take these video trainings on their own. And that's one of the benefits that we have of being part of NICER. Not only do they push out their own trainings through that system, but they allow us to create and push out our trainings through that system as well. So for the most part, we were giving a timeline to complete all of this work, and we are meeting that timeline. Tonight you'll be voting on the program, and then we will be implementing the training very shortly thereafter, and we will we will conduct our annual training in August or September, when we do our district-wide professional development at the beginning of the school year. So what we wanted to show you this evening was, this is the Human Resources page, and on the Human Resources page, there's a link to the Workplace Violence Prevention Program. Ray has already clicked on that link. Here you see both of our PowerPoint trainings, which are in the middle. On the side there, you'll see the Workplace Violence Prevention Program and the complaint forms. Now, these are the forms that the employees can use if they want to make a complaint, and they'll be making that complaint to me as the coordinator of the program, and obviously I'll be working very closely with our district administrators to do any types of investigation, and ultimately Mr. Laurie, who of course will bring that information to you as we work to address complaints as they arise. Remember, we're going to be reviewing them in the big picture monthly to see if there's any sort of patterns or anything that we have to address as a district, but we will also be immediately addressing any complaints regarding workplace violence. I do have to give a thank you right now, of course, to NFT. They worked with us very closely, and they pointed us in the direction of another school district who was kind of like the pilot of this for all school districts. So we were able to, with their help, look at what they were doing and what was working and kind of make it our own.
Was it Ithaca, Maria?
I'm sorry, that was Ithaca, yes.
Ithaca School District really got ahead of this.
Yeah.
I think it was a good policy.
It was a good policy. I also worked closely with some human resource administrators from other Niagara County school districts, and we kind of got together and worked on this right at the beginning, so it was nice to be able to bounce the information off of them. So at this point this evening, what we're asking you to do is adopt the program. Does anybody have any questions?
So a couple of punctuation points. First of all, Maria, I believe even though we have some time until it's officially in place, we have already received, reviewed, adjudicated, and supported maybe 4 workplace violence issues?
Yes, that's correct.
So we've already had 4 in the district. And we've used our thorough process through human resources, the unions, and other remedies to correct them. Tonight, so that you know, and I believe our ask is that you waive the 30-day tabling because May 4th is the deadline to have this implemented. A couple of things. We still need to train everyone. We have a good policy in place. We have a good vector training module there for everyone. We have the appropriate forms that meet the criteria of a workplace violence. We have a mechanism monthly to review any forms that come in, and when those forms come in, the committee has agreed that we'll do them with redacted names. So what happens is the committee sits around the table and looks at X event. We don't really need to see it was Maria Massaro and Mark Laurie involved in this. We need to, it doesn't matter who the people are. The committee needs to look at the event and adjudicate whether there is an environmental correction we need to make because we don't have the right safety in place, or there is a human resources step that we need to work on. But we need to review all of these. I think it's annually, but we chose to do it every month.
Correct. At least annually.
At least
we're doing more.
We're doing. I don't want to have 14 of them pile up and do them at the end of the year. What good is that in changing the environment or the practice long after it's happened? So we agreed to do these, even though the work was done, to review them every month, call for that on the agenda, redact the names, and say, are we in a good spot with our environment? Are we in a good spot with our procedures, practices, and policy? Do we need to change anything, adapt, or remove something? This policy may come back to you again as we learn things. And what I've told the unions is if there is something that you're not comfortable with, something that we need to do more of, I'll bring it back to the board as often as I have to for those changes, and we will just explain what the changes are and why it wasn't working or why it wasn't working in practicality, even though what we're presenting to you this evening meets not only the spirit, but the letter of the law. Is that accurate?
Very accurate, Mr. Lawyer. I did just want to mention, because I forgot two names, and I hate when I do that. I forgot Alicia Smith, who's also working with us on
Right.
TAL, and Betsy Olka, who's working with us as the substitute union representative.
Right.
So,
So we sit around and in the course of the meeting, this is an annual agenda topic or a monthly agenda topic, but we talk about all district issues, from sports to concussions to anything that could, to Raptor, to Evolve, to everything to capital projects, everything. We go through to AEDs, to trainings that we might need to do. And that review will happen monthly in that safety committee meeting. Our next meeting is May 29th. I always kind of remind you when the meeting is. It usually runs 1 hour to 1 hour and 15 minutes, and this will then be an agenda item to review. There may be months when we have none. There may be months when we have 4. What I'll do is make sure that I relay to you as board members. This month we had 1, this month we had 5, this month we had 10, this month we had none, just so you know the quantity that we're reviewing. And then we'll give you, at the end of the year, we'll give you a summary of workplace violence reports, not going through particular names, and any adjustments that we've had to make. Everything for the people listening, the teachers, the associates, the CSEA members, the substitutes, it lives on our website. It meets the spirit and letter of the law. You can go there and do it on your own. We will always redact names. Of course, Maria is the head of it, so she'll sometimes need to know information, and we'll do that in the most confidential human resources manner to resolve or bring to me what needs to be resolved, and we will report back to the board on the policy. If you approve the policy without waiving the table, we will meet the May 4th deadline. Sorry that we're bringing it so rushed, but oftentimes with this policy, we are learning about it as we go. As Maria said, we've had a talk that we got something from Barker. NFT brought us something great from Ithaca. We picked something up from this district. They pick up something from us. And we're all in the same boat. So all districts, I think, are rated about the same spot.
Procedural question, Judy and Maria. I have it as 701 Workplace Violence Prevention Program.
Yes.
So we need to waive the 30-day tabling?
we would ask that you would, yes.
And then we would vote on it, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
That would, and again, thank you, Russ and Maria. That would do 2 things. It would allow us to beat the May 4th deadline, but in saying that, if something is not right, we'll bring it back to you at the May 16th meeting or the June. We could always update this policy. Just as Becky was talking about the fixed asset policy, we have to bring these back to you from time to time because I'm sure this is going to be audited as well. I am certain, and that's okay, that we will have an audit of our workplace violence policy, which is fine. I think Maria's leadership has taken us to the right direction. The union's working collaboratively, and it really was collaborative, really collaborative, saying we think this, we think that. I think we got to a good place, and I think all 1,452 of your employees should know that it exists, and it will be there to support them if needed. Hope we never need it, but if we do, it's there. Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. I'm going to get you ready again, though, but I'm going to go through the agenda. But I know Maria has two things to review with you in a moment. So, Ray, if you would, I'd like to review the agenda with you, and then I'll call you up. Maria, I'll give you a little break. Call you up for the 2 things that you need to go through with the board, personnel and the calendar. So, at 7 o'clock, you have a voting meeting. We have 3 presentations. One, we have the students who visited Ghana, Africa during the 10 days during the Easter recess. They are coming here with their advisors to just spend a few minutes talking about their experience. Their advisors were wonderful in supporting this. We have a visit from the students who attended the Historically Black College Tour in Georgia. They too would like to say thank you and maybe give you a flavor for what they've learned. We have a 2-minute and 46-second video put together by the high school for the students that went to Disney. And they are not coming, but if we have a few minutes before 7, I'd like you to see their video. They just want to thank the board. In all 3 of those cases, the board supported those trips completely. And all 3 of them would like to thank you. We're approving the minutes. Our favorite budget transfer, number 9. There are no bids. There's a treasurer's report and a budget status report. I'll give Maria just a break and she'll come forward on the personnel reports. I want to tell you that Mr. Wotton and I attended the Head Start Policy Council meeting yesterday, and we let them know that the board does receive the Head Start reports in their packet. It was a really good meeting. We have 3 strong Head Start parents on that committee and 3 good community representatives on that committee. And again, in September, October, we are going to have Dr. Lynette and the parents from Head Start come and speak to you. What I wanted to tell you about that is one change is in the works at Head Start. You know that we service 1, 2, 3, and 4-year-olds. What we're hoping to do is convert at least 1 or 2 of the 3 and 4-year-old classes to 1 and 2-year-old classes. We have 93 and 4-year-olds and only 41 and 2-year-olds. And the thinking is we have our own 3 and 4-year-old program in the district. What the waiting list is for is Head Start for 1 and 2-year-olds. So Earl has to get involved in preparing a room. We have to get that overseen. We have to do some work on happening. But my hope is that the federal government will accept a conversion to more 1 and 2-year-olds in the district. We only have 40. I'd like to get up to about 56, which would be 2 more rooms. We have our eyes set on 1 more room, but that will help us really decrease the waiting list of 1 and 2-year-olds. There are 4 short-term contracts. Rick Rogers did do his first safety training last Saturday at the high school. There were 24 teachers throughout the district who took that training. I understand it went really well. There are 2 more sessions to come. Elizabeth Bell and Elizabeth Bell again are 2 Teacher Resource Center presenters. This is paid for F-Code as we went through last week, Teacher Resource Center. It's just a varying topics for teachers to learn. And then, of course, we forgot and missed one when we had the Week of the Young Child. This was the aquarium coming to Calfus. We do owe the aquarium $300 for their work on April 10th at the Week of the Young Child, and I apologize that it should have been on the March meeting. It didn't. We haven't been able to pay the aquarium for the work provided because it never went through this process. We've done the Head Start report, and here we go. The receipt of gift was a gift to the district from Teachers Desk. Thank you. I think of Teacher's Pet, which I was one. I'm kidding. Teacher's Desk, they gave us about $12,000 worth of supplies. We'd like to formally receive that and thank them. The acceptance of funds on the immigrant grant is for $22,058. 603 is your cap. This is what Becky just went through, the corrective action plan, meaning we're going to bring in asset works, we are going to update our policies, and we're going to put a hierarchy of reporting and follow through. That's what 603 is. 604, 605, and 606, I'm going to pause on. This is the first of 3 steps we have to take for the Code of Conduct, the Safety Plan, and the Comprehensive School District Safety Plan. Next month, you'll hear about the changes to the plan. This is just to file the plans. And Mr. Massaro, I am going to call on you because you made a note during the agenda review, and you want to make sure that the dates are corrected, I believe. Is that correct?
All 3 of them. We filed with the clerk on April 26th. The public hearing on May 8th at 6:30. And then the meeting was presented for action, hopefully adoption, on June 20th of this year. Those 3 dates should be in the resolution, and it'll be corrected to reflect what I just said.
Okay, so tomorrow, Judy will file them. On the 8th, there'll be a hearing. Anybody can speak on these at 6:30. And on the 20th, we had to change that date because we changed board meeting dates to avoid graduation. You will formally move to accept them. All will get us in the queue before the date that we have to do it, which is July 1st. So if we follow that road and include those dates in the resolutions, we'll be right in line with what's needed in the resolution and meeting the timeline of the state.
Do I have to take a vote on an amendment for the resolutions, or, in other words,
I know
we have 604 to 606, we have new dates in there?
They're not really new dates, they're just not clear.
Okay, so I don't have to take it as I can just take them straight up?
Yeah, we will
Okay.
vote on the resolution. I just wanted to make clear for the public record what has to be done on what dates.
Got it.
It's a little confusing, unfortunately, in the resolution.
No problem, thank you.
So if I think Russ and I were on the same page, you can take them as they are.
I'll take them as they are, I'll read the dates.
Yeah. But please,
I am.
I'll read the dates so it's in the record, and we'll take it as straight up. Thank you.
thank you, Judy and Angelo, and thank you, Russ. 607 is really Judy's agenda item. It's all of our agenda items, obviously, but Judy's agenda item. This is for I believe, a 5-year agreement to use the county's voting machines. Judy?
It is. Mr. Massaro is working with the county attorney to add a clause that would not bind future boards. So it's as written in the in your packet, but Mr. Massaro is working with the county attorney because he might just add a clause that the board could break that agreement with 30 days' notice, which is typical in all of your contracts anyway.
608 is something that Becky and the finance team does. This is to set the health fees for non-resident, private, and parochial students in our district that we provide health services to. Beck?
We provide health services to students who don't reside in our district, but that attend parochial schools within our district limits.
I think we have 3 of them, Rick. We got 2. There's 2 schools.
Yes.
I say that to Rick because he's my liaison to make sure that substantial equivalent instruction is going on in those schools. Not that he does anything with the health services, but he checks those schools and authorizes my signature. 609, 610, 611, 612, 613, 614. Any more, Ray? Right there at 14, I wanted to stop there. Those agenda items are payments to the contractors under the $29.2 million ABOFA, a breath of fresh air capital projects. What I will say, and Becky, Earl, and team and I have met, this is all earned money. work done already under the capital projects for window film, air conditioning, purchase of materials and supplies, a lot of work done at Gaskell and LaSalle. All of these companies have, Stark is working with Ray to provide technology, the security expert equipment, so that happens. Fry is pulling wires for more cameras. You're going to get a full report on the capital projects on May the 16th. However, these payments vary depending on the work being done, with the most going to Danforth because they've done the most work in getting the Gaskell and LaSalle Air ready. But I have to tell you, this project so far, which is not a surprise, has gone very, very well. What you haven't seen in this first couple $1 million of spending are any change orders, and I would love to say that'll never happen, but we've just started to break the seal of the work. But so far, so good, Earl. Absolutely. So far, so good. You'll get a full report on the 16th. Go ahead.
So far, we really have cracked into the work, and what I'm happy to say is, you know, while there may be a few change orders down the pike, nothing dramatic so far. So really good news there with all of the walls we've drilled through and everything else that's been done. So far, we're in really good shape. Happy to say.
Yep, thanks. And you can see, I forgot to mention the Bond Greenhouse, which is coming along. I'm proud to tell you we've had the DEC out there because we had to have environmental protections. That has gone very well. We did get the flagpole out. Between Earl and I, we were able to pull it out without a crane. I lifted and Earl directed. We got the flagpole out. There is a hole there. It will be filled. It won't be Aqua Falls. It will be filled. Remember that? Remember that hole? Yeah. It will be filled. There will be a beautiful greenhouse there. I want to give Belaniva Bond and the teaching staff, I'm not going to name them all because I'll forget them. They've already done the programming for inside the greenhouse. And they did Rocco and Dorothy, the administrators, have a team of 6 teachers, and Earl and I met with them this week. They have a schedule for how to use the greenhouse, and they have Rick, you'll love this, they have a tie to the greenhouse and the next gen science standards and how it fits in. The 2 things I want to tell you about that greenhouse, and I know I'm really going off kilter here, is number 1, what they built in there was a block when the community could come in and use the greenhouse. And the second block they built into there is a time when, let's say G.J. Mann wanted to come over and do something. There's a block of time that we'll devote to the other elementary schools to use it. So it's really been well done by Bond. I'm really quite pleased. If you would scroll, Ray, 15, 16, 17, and 18. This is a different funding source. I'm being very didactic for a particular reason. Becky knows, because we're going to go through an audit, and I want to make sure that this is on the record, that we've reviewed this. These 4 resolutions are coming from a pot of money called the American Rescue Funds money, ARP money. The work being done here is for CalFIS, which will be done over the summer, and Niagara Falls High School, the new system. And they're not change orders. This is for work for our PLA contractors. And Earl has told me that he is very pleased with the system that he's seeing going in at Niagara Falls High School, and that we've fired it up, and it is in good shape. Would you mind commenting on that, Earl?
Well, you're spot on as usual, and it looks like Monday, if the weather holds from what I'm seeing, will be the first day we go live with that new plant. The cooling tower has been dumped of its original fill, so it's nice and clean. The secondary loop has been dumped of its original fill, and its filter screens cleaned and then refilled. We are ready to go. We just have to enable the plant come Monday when the temperatures get to where they need to be.
Yeah, 80. So we're going to kick it off, and really good work by those contractors. If you scroll up, Maria just went through the Workplace Violence Prevention Program. We're going to ask you to waive the tabling. Then we'll have our commentary. Could you just scroll up a little bit more? On the 8th, remember the 8th is a Wednesday. We made that accommodation for those of us who will attend the chamber dinner on the 9th. On the 8th, as requested by a board member, Rick and team have showed you the academic programs. This is going to be a night when we go through the social emotional programs of ARP money. We have to have a statutory meeting to go through those code of conducts. There's the public hearings on that, and that will be it for that evening. On the 16th, we go back to, that should be a Thursday, Judy, I think, on the 16th. You see that up at the top? You're welcome, not to call you out. I have invited the police chief, the fire chief. I've invited the mayor. He is out of town, but the city administrator is going to come. Anthony Rustino is going to come with Chief Pachaco and Chief Ligamari. Again, I told them we wanted to show our gratitude and thanks, and also make sure we all get to know each other even better. They've been tireless in their support. And then we'll go through capital projects and anything else that has to come, we'll do a review. Remember, on the 22nd, Wednesday, the vote is the 21st. On the 22nd, that's your 8 o'clock statutory meeting. It should have 2 agenda items only. I think it's to certify the vote, the 60% vote, and it's to certify the new board candidates. And that's all that night is. If there aren't any questions on that agenda, I would ask Ms. Massaro to return to the podium to do 2 things. One is questions on the personnel reports and asterisks.
There she goes.
And number 2, Maria, again, working with all of the unions, late on Tuesday, was able to finalize the 2024-2025 school district calendar. And it is called for to be done through the Human Resources Administrator and the unions to negotiate and complete the calendar. And that's the reason why she can spend a few minutes on both those topics.
Will do. So let's go to the personnel reports first, and then we can distribute the calendar and talk about the items that are addressed on there. So looking at the certificated report, you'll see a couple more retirements. I just received another retirement today. Obviously, we didn't have a chance to put it in. So usually around this time of year is when the folks who do not have to give us a year notice for lifetime medical begin to put in their retirements. So the retirements that you're going to start to see now are those folks who have just believed that this will be the last year and that they're going to move on, but they are not going to be getting lifetime medical benefits unless you see a June 30th, 2025 date as the effective date of their retirement. We did revise the one. You'll see there's a TSA who is going to be staying with us a little bit longer than she had originally anticipated, so we're revising her retirement there. So that's on page 1. You see 2 retirements. Flipping over onto page 2, you gave the individual at the top of page 2 a 1-year leave of absence, and that 1-year leave of absence is expired, so this person is now resigning her position. You see probationary appointment there of a teaching assistant at Maple Avenue. A couple of regular substitute appointments. We've had some teaching assistants who have moved on, so we have to replace those. There's a .5 at Hyde Park, and there's a teaching assistant at Blunt Primary School. You see some 60-day conversions. We have 2 employees who've been in for 60 or more days, and they're going to be converting to teacher pay and teacher benefits. Then as you move down the page, you'll see, beginning with the per diem, we have added additional asterisks and additional work for per diem, summer work for 2024. I know that we had a question about summer work. A lot of the summer work you're seeing is being put on, and there's been some additions here. And then moving on to 7 of 18, after-school programming. And as you keep going, it's all of the C, D, E, F, and G as you move forward through the report. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer those for you on the certificated report.
Do I have an addendum coming in?
The addendum will be to the certificated report.
Okay.
And that will be for the calendar.
Okay, so
Okay.
the reports are the same, couple changes on them, but the addendum will be the calendar?
Correct.
To bring the calendar in?
That's
On
right.
certificated, okay.
That'll be on the certificated. Then we have the classified report, and we have a retirement added on the classified report there. Turning to page 2 of 8, you'll see a couple of probationary appointments there. These are for assistant child care associates. Moving on to page 3 of 8, the new additions there are, we have employees who are going from probationary to permanent. Moving to, let's see where our next one is. Oh, some involuntary transfers. Beginning at the bottom of page 4 of 8, all the way through page 5, you'll see some involuntary transfers. Mrs. Dunn this evening asked me why we might do something like that. There could be any number of reasons why we would do involuntary transfers. It would be because maybe we were opening and closing positions. We may have some good of the district issues that we need to solve. But for the most part, and where we are very fortunate, is all of these transfers, although involuntary, come with a bit of negotiation and agreement on behalf of the CSEA union. So I do have to give a shout out to the president, Ryan Mang, because he's always very reasonable when we need to talk to him about these types of things. I think Earl and Mr. Laurie would probably agree. And then let me see where we are here. I think we've added a couple of additions for after-school programming and extended school year. Anybody have any questions about the classified report? All right, so we're going to move on now to the 2024-2025 calendar, as Mr. Laurie said. So I'm going to distribute to you a copy of the addendum and a copy of the calendar that we're proposing to you. And then I'll go through some highlights with you this evening, as long as time is permitted.
Yep. I just wanted to preamble this by thanking Maria for the leadership, also thanking 3 union officials, Ryan Mang, who was just thanked earlier for his work on the personnel report, Rocco Marino, who heads the administrators union, and of course the teachers union, headed by Mr. Weiss and his designee, Mr. David Glahey, who Mr. Weiss appointed to have the lead negotiations on this calendar. The other thing I would tell you is that there have, and Maria will point this out, but I like to punctuate or pre-punctuate things. This is a very, very late calendar again, very late graduation again. It's a very long year again, and there are additional holidays that had to be added by state requirement. Take it away.
Yeah, so one of the things, again, Mr. Laurie said, we're very thankful to our unions because they really are very flexible. But when we're talking to the Niagara Falls Teachers Union, what's been happening is because we only have so many days in the calendar between when you can start school, not because of our contract, because of the SED regulations, and when you can end school because of the SED regulations, and when you add into it a couple new holidays that we're required to have, you end up having very little that you're able to negotiate for your calendar. But we do our best to try to make sure that, you know, we're addressing concerns as they arise. So I'll share with you some of the highlights of the calendar. Our teacher's first day, again, this is a negotiable item. Our teacher's first day is going to be August 29th. We're going to have that be the first day for teachers, and it's a professional development day. Then as we move into September, the actual first full day for teachers is September 3rd. We have professional development that week, and we're doing, again, what Mr. Laurie loves to call a soft opening of schools. It's a great way to open schools. We bring our staff in on Tuesday and Wednesday when the calendar permits, and we start students on Thursday. The students will have Thursday and Friday, and then they begin the first full week the following week. And I also believe that Niagara Falls High School and maybe even the prep schools do a rolling start with their students as well.
Right. I just like a 2-day week to start for kids. Get them back into, you know, waking up, get them back into getting into school, work out bugs in the schedule, work out bugs in the, work out bugs in transportation, and we have a plan, we have a plan for that, but 2 days, and then we can take the weekend to make adjustments.
And then we have our last day for teachers, which of course is in June, as Mr. Laurie mentioned. We have 4 superintendent conference days built into the calendar. For the most part, each level has the same conference day, September 3rd, November 5th, and March 27th. Where they differ is elementary and prep take a day in January, and Niagara Falls High School takes a day in February. So we're entitled to 4 superintendent conference days a year, and that's when we have them scheduled. We have added a new holiday. The new holiday this year is we added the Lunar New Year holiday. The Lunar New Year holiday is in January, and that holiday is a floating holiday. I don't mean floating in terms of when we take it. I mean it's not set date every year. So every year when we talk about the calendar, that date can be moved. And then we talk about when the holidays are. There was some talk about the fact that we were not going to keep a 2-week spring break. We are absolutely keeping a 2-week spring break.
False, what do they call it? Fake news. Fake news.
That was-
Fake news. There will be a 2-week spring break. Fake news, I call. Very, very fake. I'm sorry.
Very fake news.
Very fake. Sorry. Trying a little impersonation for the audience.
We did our emergency closure payback order days are also in the calendar. That usually falls around the day before Memorial Day, and then it also hits into spring break in reverse order if we have that many days that we have to pay back. Any questions on the calendar? Yes, sir.
Conflict days for BOCES?
We have 10.
We have 10 this
Yeah,
year?
We have 10. And again, we're always going to hover around 10, and most of that is because there's a week at spring break, so there's 5 right there. And then typically we don't take the same superintendent conference days.
Yeah. Now, what excuse me for interrupting
sorry,
you,
go
but
ahead.
what I will say is, for the BOCES students, and I think this started back when you were principal, Cynthia, we do offer transportation for kids that want to go to BOCES, right? So, yes, Russ, you're correct. They are conflict days. Many of our kids want to go, and we will transport them. So buses will be available. We'll ask the high school team to encourage them to go so that they're not conflict days, but there isn't a district in Niagara and Orleans that don't have between 5 and 10. We happen to be on the high side because of the 2-week break, as is, I think, Lewiston, Porter, and whomever else is on the 2-week break.
Maria, going back to the conference days, why can't we line those up? Is there a reason?
Well, we typically wouldn't. So
Okay.
one thing to remember too is, so it's not just our 2-week spring break. When BOCES takes their winter break, we have conflict days that week too. So we have
Good point.
the week there, and then BOCES takes the winter break, so we have a conflict because they're closed. That's also counted in the conflict days.
Yeah,
We
makes
try to combat that by taking a superintendent conference day at Niagara Falls High School to try to eliminate at least one conflict day there. And then we always, and again, for safety reasons, and I don't keep me to jumping in, Mr.
That's
Richard,
where I'm going.
we take election day is a superintendent conference.
So
day.
our conference days are more or less fixed.
Yeah.
Understood. Got it, thank you.
We have 8 schools, we can spend a whole night on this, but we have 8 schools where there is voting in. This is going to be a very well-attended election on November 7th this year. It's a presidential year. We have got to take a conference day. Let me just go off the calendar for a minute. We have a voting day next Tuesday for a special election. Thank you, Tony, for Congressman Higgins' seat. What we're going to do is we are going to bring a safety officer to any elementary school that doesn't have one and has voting. So Chief Del Porto and Maria are reassigning safety officers that day, meaning that the high school might be down 1 or 2. A school like Gaskill that has 3 or LaSalle has 3 is going to be down 2 that day, so that we take them out of those schools and, for instance, put them at Maple Avenue. Maple doesn't have a safety officer, but they have a polling site. I think man is a polling site. We take them out of man and put them there, a safety officer. In addition to that, what we will do, because I worry about this, quite frankly, nothing will happen. We want the safety staff, superstars like Mr. Fitzpatrick back there. He will also run the Evolve machine. So he has got great experience running Evolve at high school. He will also be there all day, counting his overtime. I didn't say that. But he will also be running the Evolve machine because it's really counterintuitive to our safety plan to have people coming in to vote. But it is what it is. Our best effort is to bring safety officers and put Evolve up to level F to minimize that.
Okay, any other questions about the calendar?
I have a question. Do we have any plans, or could we have conversations about doing anything additional for the children of the district during that long 2-week break, possibly from a lunch opportunity or breakfast opportunity? Are we having those conversations or looking to have those conversations?
It's a really fine point. We certainly can do something there. We can open our buildings. Probably not all 10 days or 9 days. It's certainly not Good Friday, but you're raising a good point, especially around food insecurity. You're raising a good point around eyes on kids, and we have the ability to have maybe a mini camp. Now, the best way to run a mini camp would be to use one of our extended school day grants to do that. What I can't tell you right now is that I have a plan for it, but I will make a note, and if it's okay, take some time to study it, both with food and with activities. The only thing I would say is that it probably wouldn't be for the full 10 days, but it could be 4 of the days. It could be 2 days the first week, or 5 days, 2 days and 3 days, something like that. But I think you're on the right track, right? Because we know what food means, and we also know what activity and eyes on kids mean, and coming back from a long break. First of all, before a break, what have we learned? Kids get antsy, they don't want it. They express themselves sometimes in not positive ways, right? And secondly, our staff are big eyes on kids. And finally, our kids need the food. So I would really thank you for the suggestion and take a look at it for this coming year.
Thank you, Mark.
Yep. Maria, what else?
I'm good with the calendar if you are.
I am.
Okay.
So that's all we have for you this evening. I think because we do have a very jam-packed time, if you have just 2 minutes and we'll still have time for a 5-minute break, Ray, are you able to run the Disney video? This is something that the Niagara Falls High School kids put together. They're not coming tonight. We have 2 other groups coming, but they wanted to say thank you to you. And what they did was they put together a 2-minute and 46-second video, and they did this for you. So we have a few minutes. I'd like to show it, Ray, if you could.
Hello, my name is Abigail Beery. As all 16 students, including myself, boarded the plane, we knew we were on an unforgettable experience. First off, we would like to thank every staff member who contributed to this amazing experience. 4 days in Disney equal to a lifetime of new leadership skills. From conference to conference, we all learned listening, teamwork, and communication.
My name is Melianis Collazo. I'm really thankful for this opportunity, meeting new people that I've never met.
First off, we would like to thank every staff member who contributed to this amazing experience. 4 days in Disney equal to a lifetime of new leadership skills.
Get a good VCR out, that'll take care of it. Still got one of those, Mark?
I have a VCR. I what? Yeah. Wow.
Weighs a quarter of a ton.
Are we good, Ray, or you want us to hold off? We'll try it one more time.
Pop the tape in and hit play.
Hello, my name is Abigail Beery.
Well, we know Abigail Berry was on the trip. There were 16 other students on the trip. They learned leadership, they had fun, and a chance of a lifetime.
Mark, may I ask a question?
Yeah,
About that trip, how many young people went?
17 total.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
And
17.
And the ages were?
These were high school students, juniors and I'm looking for high school. Yeah, oh, there she is. Hi, Kate. Hi, Kate, how are you? Good. All seniors, Cheryl? All seniors, Tony, like I said.
Thank you.
One shot, Ray, or you want to wait?
Do any of our students, have they explored any of the options that are available for Disney, like when they go to college, like the college programs they have, or maybe going on this trip creates an opportunity for them to go and be a part of the Disney experience?
Hello, my name is Abigail Beery. As all 16 students, including myself, boarded the plane, we knew we were on an unforgettable experience. First off, we would like to thank every staff member who contributed.
We could try it. Okay, we'll take a pause, board members, a couple of minutes. We do know Abigail Berry was on the trip. 7 o'clock, everyone? Thanks. allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
And we'll have a prayer by Mrs. Dunn, please.
Let us reflect on the Lord and pray. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there I am in the midst of them. Matthew 18:20. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for allowing us to meet today and for all your blessings you bestow upon us as a board, our staff, our students, this entire district and community. We honor your presence tonight, Lord, and we thank you in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Judy, would you call the roll, please?
I will. Mr. Bass is excused. Mr. Bilson?
Here.
Mr. Kinsemi is excused. Mr. Capizzi? Here. Mrs. Dunn? Here. Mr. Cadella, I believe we have remotely.
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Pareto?
Here.
Mr. Velardo? Here. And Mr. Petrosi?
Here.
7 present.
Okay. Mr. Cadella, I will assume your votes are all yeses. Please stop me if they're not yeses. In the event it's not clear, catch up with Judy to make sure the record is correct. That way we will not have to wait for the delay, and I appreciate that. Okay, we do not have any agenda item speakers. Saying that, we do have one written communications, and it comes from the Mann family. It's a thank you. We appreciate that very much. And we will move on to the regular part of the meeting. Mark, we have some special presentations.
I do, Ron. Russ. Sorry. I've worked with him for... I'm in his office 5 hours a day for the last 10 years. It's okay, Ron. I won't... Sorry. 3 special presentations. First of all, the presentations really revolve around student experience tonight. And we have some students and we have some representatives. It's been really important to give our high school and younger students opportunities to experience the world, not just the country, the world. And one of the groups that did experience the world is going to come tonight. But the first group, Ms. Velardo, I think it was 17 students going to Disney. And these are all seniors. And they put together a short thank you video, so I'd like to play that right now.
Hello, my name is Abigail Beery. As all 16 students, including myself, boarded the plane, we knew we were on an unforgettable experience. First off, we would like to thank every staff member who contributed to this amazing experience. 4 days in Disney equal to a lifetime of new leadership skills. From conference to conference, we all learned listening, teamwork, and communication.
My name is Melianis Collazo. I'm really thankful for this opportunity. Meeting new people that I've never met and getting to know them was really nice. I really enjoyed learning about Disney and how a theme park is created. I'm grateful for all the memories I made, and I will always cherish them.
Hi, my name is Rafay Bawamia. I was also a student that participated in the Walt Disney Leadership Program. Being able to travel to Disney World in Florida for the first time was an amazing experience, as we were able to visit the different parks such as Epcot, Magic Kingdom, and others. Being able to learn about the reason why the theme parks are built the way they are was eye-opening, and the way the environment is built to fully immerse the person into a magical world.
Hi, my name is Mudassir Billah. I was a student that participated in the Disney trip. I want to thank the school district and board for providing the means to attend this trip, being a cause for life-lasting memories. Within the 4 days, we learned leadership skills and overall life skills, preparing myself and the rest for the next stages in our future careers.
I'm Caden DePadre, and I'm a student who learned plenty while in Disney World, Florida. I learned about all the cultures in Epcot, learned about the languages from each country there, and they are given job exchanges. They are given housing and livable wages as well. I learned how to say hi or hello in German and so much more. I appreciate the opportunity to go on such an event and learn about their cultures.
My name is Anthony Townsend. I was one of the 16 students on the Disney leadership trip. Firstly, I would like to thank the school board and all the district members who made this trip possible. During the trip, Myself and my peers learned several leadership qualities, including collaboration and communication skills. I am thankful for this opportunity, and I would love to see future students attend the trip.
My name is Charity Hauser, and I am very grateful for the opportunity I had to attend this Disney leadership trip. A big thank you to the board members and district staff who gave us the funding and worked very hard in order to ensure we had a successful and educational trip. I was able to learn so much about the way that leadership works in terms of a big company like Disney and got to see the backstage, which was so much different from what I expected. I had a great time making memories for my senior year and was so thankful that I had the opportunity to participate in this program.
As we come to a close, we'd like to thank every staff member involved. A special shout out goes to Miss Falardo, Miss Conti, Miss Sinatra, and Miss Reich.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, students at Niagara Falls High School. I think what you see a lot of the fun stuff, but if you listen closely, they got to see behind the scenes an organization like Disney, how it works in terms of leadership and opportunities. And I just feel it's really important to help our kids get to places that they may have never been, experience things that they may never have been. And remember, these are still kids who came through COVID. It didn't even get to experience times together in schools. So it's a great trip. I know we do have another trip to Disney with some of our unified students coming up later in the school year. We also have spoken about this, and I know this is a joint effort between Ms. Falardo and Ms. Cynthia Jones, who's here. And this is the Historically Black College Tour. This year they were able to fly to Georgia and tour a number of colleges in that area. I just want you all to know that over the course of those 3 or 4 years we've been taking this trip, 68 different Niagara Falls High School students have had the chance to experience one or more of the historically black colleges. And in a very interesting statistic that Mrs. Jones has kept and put together, 40 of those students have graduated already. 35 of the 40 students are in a college, not necessarily a historically black college, some are, but they're in a college. One of them has her own business, and I think that whether it was getting to a historically black college, it was more than that. It was the experience of getting to look at colleges outside of our area. And while I said they're not all historically black colleges, I just see places on here like Midway University in Kentucky. I'm just looking at for some, a lot of them are local. Thiel College, I'm not sure where that is. SUNY Cobblestone, Arizona State, Morgan State, which is a historically black college, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So while all 68, they've not all graduated, the 40 that have graduated, 87% of them are in college, and they went on a historically black college tour. Cynthia, did you or anyone from the group would like to address us at this time? Oh my God, there she is. Frida, would you come forward, please? Board members, audience, this is Frida Cowart. Frida is a dean at Niagara Falls High School currently. She is also a special education teacher by trade, and she has a guest with her. Yeah, you were doing great.
Okay. No, you're good. Okay. Going on a Black Excellence field trip, it opened my eyes to a lot. A lot of us aren't able to go to colleges that are outside of our area because we're not used to seeing things outside of our area. Being able to see how the college operated, how the campus was set up, and how the sense of unity brought everybody together, it opened my eyes to a lot. I wasn't always thinking about going away for college, but seeing how colleges operated outside of Western New York, it has opened my mind up to going outside of Western New York. Going to other places other than the colleges, the museum, the Skyview. Going to the museum, it opened my eyes a lot because we learned about so much more than what we normally learn about. There's a lot more history behind everything than what we are typically used to hearing. The trip opened my eyes a lot just because I was able to learn so much more about my background than I'm used to hearing. So I appreciated going on the field trip and being picked to go on the field trip because it made me think more about my future and more about my past. I'm done.
You did a beautiful job. Yeah.
And since my mentee is here, I'm also going to put her on the spot to give you guys an overview of our trip and to highlight some of the colleges and some of the places that we went to. So I'm not sure how to start the slideshow. Okay, so day one.
Day one, we went to Pascal's for dinner as soon as we got off the plane. Then we went to Cascades. We were at Cascades for like 2 hours, but it was really cool seeing stuff that you like see in the movies in real life. Those are cool.
Day two?
Oh, day two, we went to the Martin Luther King Center. It was cool seeing the Eternal Flame. We seen his birth house. We weren't able to go on there because it was under construction, but seeing stuff like that was like historic that you hear about all the time in person, it was eye-opening.
If you can go back.
Day two, we also went on to see Clark Atlanta University. We learned a lot of history behind the college. We got to meet some of the students. One of the students were actually from Rochester, New York, and we got to hear about a lot of the programs that they have to offer. We also got to see some of the freshman campuses. Skyview Atlanta, we were basically able to see the entire view of Atlanta from up, like really high. Yeah, on the Ferris wheel. The Apex Museum, it was more so lecture-based. They explained a lot of history to us, and then they also had the part of the museum where you've seen a lot of where the slaves were, and a lot of their stories and things that they did after they were out of enslavement. Spelman College, we got to go into their museum to see a lot of the art that people made that were submitted into the museum, a lot of the quilts, and a lot of the stories that were behind all the art pieces that they did.
And then I just wanted to just give a brief overview of the Black Excellence Mentorship Program. It was established to provide students with a chance to experience amazing opportunities. Each year we have hosted engaging discussion panels on topics that are relevant to teens. The topics have ranged from healthy relationships, financial aid, environmental issues, leadership seminars, social media etiquette, and gun violence. We have also established a mentorship program. We link students with established mentors from the community that impart wisdom, insight, and knowledge. One of our most highly sought after programs is the HBCU College Tour. These experiences have helped students advocate for themselves. 2 students started the admission process while on campus. It also taught them the importance of education. While on college tour, the tour guides discussed why the college was formed and why it is important to have spaces for our culture to be shared, celebrated, and appreciated. The campuses we visited had such a diverse curriculum and a strong range of extracurricular activities that also engaged students. Some of the most important educational experiences happen outside of the classroom, and programs like this, the Black Excellence HBCU College Tour, is one of them. We would like to formally thank the board members and Superintendent Mark Laurie for their unwavering support and dedication to uplifting Black students. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You can't get away so fast. Hold her up. I got questions for her. You can't get away that fast. Come on. Can't get away that fast. So you're wearing a Clark Atlanta University sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Why?
I want to go to Clark once I graduate.
Do you?
Yeah.
You can do it. You know you can do it.
Yes.
What do you want? What would you like to study there?
I want to major in nursing.
Oh my God, that's wonderful. You know you can do it. There's nothing that stops you or any of your peers from doing it. So, are you a junior or senior?
I'm a junior.
You're a junior. Perfect time. Your mindset is in a perfect place, and you are going to do it. It's not like you can or you might or you're going to try. You can do it. I think that's what I want to convey to you and the other students. We believe in you, and that's why the board supported this. Next question, a little harder. Thank you, Frida, and to all the chaperones, Ms. Jones and Ms. Villardo, for spearheading it up, and the other chaperones I don't want to mention because I'll forget them. But I need to ask a question. Unfortunately, one of our board members isn't here, but I want to ask you about the behavior of a Mr. Earl Bass. Was he on the trip? Was he on the trip? He was. You're nodding. If you prefer just to nod at the answers, that's fine. Was his behavior good?
Yeah, he was good.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. I am really glad that you. I'm really glad that you enjoyed it. I'm really glad that we were able to give you that experience, and I'm glad Mr. Bass behaved. And it's we're going to show you a slide in a minute that poses a challenge to us. But I want to tell you and your colleagues, your peers, that we're going to do everything that we can, despite something I'm going to show you in a minute, to get students back there in the future. So congratulations and thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we covered Florida, we covered Georgia. I think it's now time to cover, I think we have to leave the country, right? Let's leave the country. Let's not just leave the country to go to Canada or Mexico. Let's leave the country and let's go to Ghana, Africa. And over the Easter break, I believe it was 10 students who went on the trip. Miss Frida, were you on that trip too? When are you ever home? When are you ever home? Your husband's not happy? I'll vouch for you. And I also see a terrific teacher, a really great man, and somebody who I'm proud to know. And I just want to say I was so proud to know his two boys who went through Niagara Falls High School. They went to high school with my youngest son. My youngest son was probably copying off their paper because they were so smart, your sons. But David Sanders is here. And I believe Ms. Shirella had a hand in this trip as well. She's here. And I believe the Barretts are here. Anna and Kevin Barrett. Hi, nice to see you. This is the Ghana Africa trip. And who would like to make the presentation on this? Oh, Ms. Shirella just assigned a couple of students. And here come the Barretts. Come on up, students.
Come on up, kids.
See, that's what happens when you're the teacher. She can just tell you. Come on up, Frida. Dave, will you come up, please, too? Would you come up, David? I just want everybody to see you. And I wanted, I wanted the camera to see you, too. This is Mr. Sanders. Hi, Dave. Hi, Frida. Who would like to lead us off? Is it you, Doctor?
All right.
Beautiful outfit, as per usual.
When I say I go, you say amen. I go. Amen. I go. Amen. That's everyone. Let's try this again. When I say I go, you say amen. I go.
Amen.
I go.
Amen.
This is the democratic participation in Africa. So my call to you, your response, is punctuated by my call. So thank you, all the board members, and thank you for all of the audience that are here, and the students that participated in the Ghana trip is, oh, I have this over here. All right. So we just did a call and response. It is our first president, also a Pan-Africanist by the name of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, who once said, "I am not African because I was born in Africa, but I am African because Africa was born in me." And so, greetings from Ghana, West Africa. I was born in Africa, and so I would like to take us back with the Sankofa bird, which is also a principle for Global Partnerships Incorporated. And the Sankofa bird symbolizes reflecting and learning from the past. And it's also the principle of GPI. I remember when we first set soil on Ghana, as soon as we arrived, Mr. Sanders literally stood in front of the steps of the airport and he said, "I'm home, I am home." And he was declaring to all of the ancestors, the vibrations and the spirits, that he did indeed return, because when we went to the Elmina Castle, there is a door that has an inscription on it, the door of no return. So the fact that Mr. Sanders stepped foot on the soil of Africa one more time, 400 and some odd years ago, to declare, "I am home," was truly symbolic. And I am going to hand it over to Shakira, as we affectionately call her. She is going to do the rest of the presentation. Oh, Shakira and Nalea.
Hi, I'm Shakira Griggs, a senior of Niagara Falls High School.
And I'm Nalea Bradley, also a senior of Niagara Falls High School.
In this picture right here, we were at the airport in Ghana. And then on Easter, we celebrated Easter in Ghana. We attended a church, and I also sung in the church.
You did? Awesome. What did you sing?
My God is awesome.
How beautiful.
Yes.
So pretty much we went to the school and we got to see all the other kids on the island, and stepping on the island, even before we got there, we were on the boat, we were shipping over, and as we look out, we just see all the kids are just waving, they're happy, and they don't even know us. As soon as we got off, they grabbed our hands and they just clinged onto us the whole time. So the second day we went, it was a naming ceremony where they had the older people, they would come and they would give us our African names. So we all got our own name. You want to tell what yours was?
Okay, my African name was Akle, and some of the other ones were Darke, Ade, Ophio, Corley. I can't really say most of them, but I know some of them. In the picture, we have Dee Dee. She is on the left-hand side. In the middle to the left, we have Miss Coward. On the right, we have Nalea in the middle, and then on the right, to the right, you see me, I have on this shirt. That's me right there. These are more photos from the naming ceremony. Mr. Sanders, Anari, Jazira, and Aiden. This is some of the food that we ate. It really took some time for us to get used to it. Everything was really spicy. I'm not really big on spice, so to be honest, I only ate 3 days out of the whole 8 days.
With the food, like coming from America and going to Africa, you for sure embrace their culture. Like, we're so used to McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger King, but when you go over there, everything is made handmade. You don't have all the, like, your fruit, beautiful, it's amazing. Like, it tastes fresh, you don't have all these additives in it. It's just very clean, but it was really hard to eat because it's not stuff we're used to. But for the most part, we tried to enjoy it, at least.
Yes, on On the bottom, we have some pancakes. They were like rolled pancakes. On the top, we had breakfast cereal. I was really scared to try it, but I tried it. It was really good. Next to that, I had some French fries and chicken. That was my third day eating. And then on the bottom, there was some, I think it's called wache. Yes, wache, with the rice, and then there was some spicy sauce. Like I said, everything was spicy. Then we also have jollof rice, and yes. We spent 2 days at the schools with the African children. They were really welcoming. We learned a lot about them. They learned some stuff about us. We taught them some things that we learn here in America, like we play games like head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Simon Says, kickball.
It was kind of hard trying to teach them as well. Like with our school district, we have smart boards and we have like a lot of materialistic things, but with them, it's strictly chalkboards, chalk, you have sand, sticks, and stones.
Wow.
So with them, like for my grade level that we did, I had 6th grade and up, we did math games. So we would break up into two teams, and then whatever team got the math answer right, they would get a point. But they were so thrilled to like answer the question. They all worked together, they were happy, they were excited, and they just never got tired of it. And they're also very opening to sharing. So they have like a mini market. Everything is all connected. So they have houses on the island, they have market on the island in the bathroom. I went to the market and I spent about $50 over there, but in our money it's $5. So when we're over there, it's like we're like celebrities. We're like rich. That's how I felt. I felt really rich. And I got everyone candy, but the little ones didn't really get the candy. So you would see people like trying to give them theirs. Like everyone just shared. Nobody was selfish, and they were very open to a lot of stuff.
This is some more pictures from the island. I am in a couple pictures with the children. They really have really good personality, sorry. They're always smiling. They made me smile a lot there just by their actions, and they really enjoyed us being there. They were very welcoming. This is some more pictures also from the naming ceremony. We have Jasa, Erin, Gianna, and then we also have a big picture on the right-hand side of everyone that also got their African names. In these pictures, we were out. We were in Ada, Accra. We went to the Zen Garden, which was like a karaoke, and we ate American food there. I had a cheeseburger and French fries. That was
good, right?
Yes. And then we were also at the Mina Castle, where there was the door of no return, where slave trade happened at. We also did a 7-bridge canopy walk. It was, I think, 130 feet in the air over 7 bridges. That was an experience for me.
Going to the castle, it was really like, it changed your mindset on everything. Like we actually walked through it, and I couldn't even stand being there for 5 minutes and then think about what our ancestors went through for years and years and years. It was really hard to think about. But then it was this one part of the tour that like really affected me, was where they had like the metal bars, like the original bars that were there, and they told us to just touch it and close your eyes. And like touching it, you could just hear screaming, like crying, like it was really, really sad. But then it's like, it made me feel 10 times more grateful that like I'm in a good predicament, and that my family and my ancestors fought for me to get to where I am now. So it was for sure an eye-opener.
These are also some more pictures. We also went to an ancestral wall. We were also on top of the Amina Castle, and we seen view of the boats. There was a nice beach that we rode by. I'm not sure where it was located at. This is some pictures of us on the canopy walk. Mr. Sanders, he act like he went on it. He did not. He did not. He did not.
Whoa.
He just took a picture on the side, and then he went down to the emergency exits. But to impact off of the Amina Castle, it was very touching. And then the tour guide told us that I think a couple people went there for 12 hours and tried to survive without no food, no light. They were in shackles and chains, and they basically tried to experience what the ancestors went through, but they could not make it because of how hard the things were, and they're not really used to that. So that really touched me, knowing that people tried to go into effect of what our people had to go through, and they could not even survive for 12 hours, while these people did it for days and months.
Yes, so I'd like to thank you, Mr. Laurie, Board of Education, and particularly, our chaperones and Mrs. Velardo, for really supporting, this trip, this effort. So one thing that, really stood out to me when the young ladies was up here, this was far from a vacation. It wasn't a vacation, but it was actually in-service learning, right? So right now, we're in this room, and really, even though it's an old building, we're fairly comfortable, right? But really what this did, it stretched the kids a bit, right? Not only do they appreciate, what they have here now, but they understand on the other side of the world, things could be a bit different. Right, so I really appreciate working with the kids. I appreciate what the way the chaperones just came behind, and you could see even in some of these photos, one of the things that we missed is that time of reflection, right? So a lot of times, the subject matter was so heavy, we had to come together and actually do a circle, right? So that kids could actually table what some of their emotions and some of the things that they were going through at the time. So that would be the difference, between a vacation, packing a bathing suit, sunglasses, and suntan lotion versus, in-service learning. Another thing, and I don't know if you captured this, our kids, I say our kids because I take them as mine too, our kids were in classrooms teaching, right? So they weren't just sitting down, and somebody talking at them, but they actually were able to disseminate information that they had, right? So not only does this trip, build the cultural competence, but it's also building the leadership, right, that I think will take them to the next level. And Mr. Laurie, I just listened to how you talk to that young lady, that was here, that went to the HBCU, and those words that you kept saying, you can do it, right? And I think this is what's reiterated with these kids, not only going on the trip, but just being surrounded by so many adults that support them. So thank you so much for all you do for our kids.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. The two students from Niagara Falls High School, you got to come back to the mic. Come on up. Got questions? I got questions. So you're both seniors?
Yes.
Okay. Can you talk about, well, first of all, I think what really struck me, and I think Mr. Barrett said it well, is this wasn't a vacation. This was a learning, teaching experience, but it also, I heard you, I believe, Nelia, use the word grateful. In some way, you express gratitude and gratefulness for what you have. And I think that's part of learning, too. And I think that I'm proud because we gave a number of students an experience that, who could put a price tag on that? And you're ours, and we're proud of you, and the board, we all will do anything for you. So, would you, young lady, tell us what your future plans are and what you're considering?
So I want to be a secondary education English teacher. I'm going to Buff State.
Nice.
Yay.
You're going to go to Buff State for secondary English?
Yes.
Good for you. You'll do it. You'll do it. You're all set and ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Massaro will then take your job application. All right. So you can then just walk right into an English class over there. Actually, my son is a 7th grade English teacher, and it's a wonderful career. He loves teaching English and was influenced by his English teachers at Niagara Falls High School. Ms. Nalea, what are you thinking about? I've known you a very, very long time, haven't I?
Don't say it like that.
No, I haven't. No, nothing bad. It's just that I've known you a long time. I know your mother was my student, right?
Yeah. I finally committed to the Air Force, and I will be participating in nursing. So as soon as I leave, I'll be
Wow.
May I say this, though? I think both of you would make excellent teachers.
Yeah.
And when you tell us what you did on this trip,
Yeah.
you know, we impressed us, and I'm like, man, I'll tell you, these two young ladies are ready to go.
Yeah, and you know what? You were so smooth and articulate in the way you spoke. And Air Force, that's really, thank you for your service. Absolutely. Last question. Are you on the flag football team? I saw your picture. It was everywhere that one weekend. I understand we're winning. We are winning. How many? We won 1, 2? How many?
2.
We won 2 games. Way to go, flag football team. What position do you play?
everything, but I'm a wide receiver. That's like my main.
There we go.
All right.
That's my main.
So there is a chance that in about a half an hour when we go home, the Bills have now selected as a wide receiver. You'll get called.
From Air Force Academy.
Yeah, actually, do you know that you've doubled the number of wins Mr. Pareto has a football coach? It was 1. So you have 2, so that's really great. Congratulations. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. Mr. Sanders, Ms. Coward, anything to close? David, come on, you got to defend yourself.
Yeah, come on up.
Come on, David.
I want to hear about that walk there.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello.
Hello. Good to see you.
My name is David Sanders, in case you didn't hear that. I am a teacher at Niagara Falls High School. I, too, would really like to thank the board members from the bottom of my heart, and I mean that with all sincerity, to each and every one of you. You, Mr. Laurie, it was such a, Mrs. Velardo, thank you so much. I'll be honest, when I was asked to go on this trip, they said, and Mr. Rotella, they came up to me and said, we have such a great opportunity for you, Mr. Sanders, you're gonna love it. And I said, what is it? And they said, you're going to Africa. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm not, I don't fly. So me no go nowhere. But I went, and the trip was terrific. But with all sincerity, thank you again so very much. Honestly, the trip was wonderful. I think my students learned so much while we were on our excursion there about the walk across the bridge. I took a walk across the bridge. I did. I just didn't walk all 17 ladders with everyone else. I did maybe bail out just a little early, but I did walk. But, you know, one of the things that I saw happening while we were there was, you know, it wasn't easy to be there. Some of it was tough. Being there, not just seeing what we saw, that was tough. But just for the girls being there and a couple of the young men, you know, missing home, you know, missing what they're used to, their community. And so, you know, the foods that they ate. And so when we were there, I had to explain to them that this is a part of your life, an opportunity you may never see again, and that you're gonna look back someday with such fond memories. and you're going to be so proud of yourself for getting through this, for being able to accomplish this. And I saw it when we were, before we left, and I really saw it. One of the things that really touched me was how much they appreciated coming back home to the United States of America. And that really, it really touched me, because sometimes we take it for granted, right? And our young people take it for granted because it's all they know. But I got to see a side of them that really began to appreciate, not just where they were, but, coming home. And that was really great to see that. Finally, last thing, because my students always say I talk too much. I agree. Last thing, when they were teaching and on the island, they were doing such a wonderful job teaching these bright young students. I had met a young man named Bishma who told me he wanted to be a pilot one day. And so the first day we were there, they went in and they taught the kids, and the kids sat there just anxiously waiting to hear the next questions and so on and so forth. When we went back the next day, however, it was a slightly different kind of atmosphere for the kids. They had kind of gotten used to us, and the phones were out and the candy, and some of them were having a slightly difficult time keeping the kids in order. And I just remember walking into a couple of the classrooms saying to them, "How do you like it?" so that was worth the trip
great.
there.
That's great.
How do you like it?
How do you like it? I'll remember that.
How do you like it?
Hey, I just, on a personal note, you put two outstanding boys through our school district. How are they doing, and what are they doing?
Great. Devin is in Arizona. He's living in Arizona. He's doing his engineering thing, and he's doing great. Tyler is finishing up at Cornell. He just came in from Arizona. He flew some students. He didn't fly them. He doesn't fly. He took students to Arizona. He wants to be a meteorology. Yeah. And so he went there, and he just got back. And so, Mr. Laurie, they're doing very well. I couldn't be more proud of them.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sanders, Ms. Cowart, Ms. Shirella, Ms. Filardo, students, Mr. and Mrs. Barrett. Thank you for the guidance and leadership. Really, to our students, so proud of you. Glad you got to experience that. All of the students are glad. I think it's a chance that you will never forget for the rest of your life. So thank you for representing us, and we're proud that you're ours. Congratulations.
Just one more thing. I didn't thank the Barretts. I don't want to forget them, because without you, we wouldn't have been able to do this.
Oh,
so
thank you.
Thank you too, guys.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for what you did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have it on. Nice. I think at this time, just wanted to go into one business slide, then we'll go through the agenda, and we'll move quickly through this. Ray, would you put up one slide just so we can get this? Just for those, the budget, I'm going from a great couple of presentations to a different presentation here. It's not an easy transition to make, but let me make a couple of points on this, and Becky will chime in. The budget is done. The budget was done on the March 25th meeting. So we can't change the budget. Ray, would you scroll up to the number? The number there is at 190,992. That's what you voted on. Nothing can change within that budget. That's what on May 21st the voters have to vote on to approve or not approve with a 60% majority. That number didn't change. We want to show you what did change, and because you, the board members, were very cognizant of not cutting people or programs and offered to use $7.2 million, and of course not to raise the tax levy, we were able to get some relief. And if you'd scroll down, we'll show you. The other way, Ray. Scroll up, I should have said. See the blue? If you had our foundation aid the last time, it was in the threes, right, Becky? About, do you have it?
Yes, it was 3.6.
3.6. So it went up about $900,000 there. There were some minor adjustments on the excess cost aid, on the hardware, software, small transportation, and building aid. Minor adjustments. The last thing I want to show you is in the corner, the bottom corner. Scroll up more, Ray. Here's the bottom line. No program cuts, no people cuts, no tax levy increase. However, that $7.2 million is now decreased to $6.3 million of reserve funds that we have to use to guarantee those first three. No people, no programs, no tax levy. It did decrease a little bit there, which is a good thing. You can see that our budget increased 5.23%, which is higher than the CPI. I will say this: I really do not like how the governor figured foundation aid this year. There's a formula that's on the books. The formula should be followed. It was followed last year. All of a sudden, she deviated from it. I don't understand why. Then she decided to use the CPI. At our first run, she gave us 2.4 of the CPI, and then went to 2.8. The movement from using the CPI at 2.4 to 2.8 is what generated the $900,000 more. What we know is that's not the CPI. The CPI is closer to 4.1 or whatever month that was in. So just think if she would have went, first of all, she shouldn't have used that formula, and I'll put that on the record. Secondly, if you say you're going to follow the CPI, then follow it and give what it is. So I am disappointed. I'm not ungrateful for the $900,000. I am disappointed that we didn't get the foundation aid formula followed, and that we didn't get, if you're going to change the formula arbitrarily, which in my opinion she did, then fund it appropriately. I guess the news is that there is a sum of money in this budget to have a study done using an outside agency in the state ed department. I wish she would have included some school district people in that directive, but by, is it January 1st or November 1st, we're supposed to get a new budget formula.
I'm not sure of the date.
It might be January 1st. We're supposed to get a new funding formula. And the other thing, and again, I'm not trying to be negative, but the other thing that isn't recognized in the governor's budget is this. She's been frequently quoted as saying, well, there's fewer kids in the seats. And you've heard that? In our district, it's a slight decrease, not much, but what she doesn't say, and which I think is a really egregious part of that statement, is the students who are in those seats are so different and need so much more. And when you consider that we have 253 McKinney-Vento students that require transportation that costs money out of our budget, and we're obligated to bus kids, we bus somebody to Hamburg.
There is a family that we bus to and from Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
I mean, so don't say there's fewer kids in the seats. The requirements that we have to meet from mental health to security to McKinney-Vento doesn't count kids in seats. It counts widgets, and our kids are not widgets. They're live human beings with a lot of needs. So I'll try to be calm and politically correct, but I can't get away without saying that. We're thankful for the additional $900,000. I'm thankful to this board for holding firm on using reserves. It is a very rainy day, and you made the best choice. Our kids cannot afford to lose any of the programs we have or any of the people that we have. Now, there's going to have to be some real scrutiny on some of those things that we did with ARP money, because that is now gone. So I just wanted to show you where we stood. Nothing changed in the final number, but how we reduced the budget How we reduced the reserves did change. Okay, that makes sense? I hope it makes sense. Hope it makes sense. So the budget that was presented is the budget that we have to live with. We're just using fewer reserve dollars. Thank you very much. Okay, Ray, we'll go through the agenda. Thanks, Mr. Petrosi. That's all we have right now.
Thanks, Mark. Okay, moving on. Are there any speakers tonight on agenda items? And there are not. So written communications I did announce. Recommended actions, I'll let the crowd take a second.
That's okay.
Thanks for coming. Okay, recommended actions from the superintendent of schools. 401 and 402 I will take together. 401 is the minutes of the March 24th meeting. 402 is approval of budget transfer number 9. Motion, please. Thank you, Rob. Second, Nick. Questions? Call the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. 404, Treasurer's Report, received and filed along with the Budget Status Report, Personnel Report, certificated. Motion by Rob, second by Nick. I do have an addendum for that report. It is the calendar. Could we someone move the addendum, please? Thank you, Tony. Rob on the second. Call the roll on the addendum to come in, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Added.
Thank you. Can we vote on the personnel report along with the addendum, please?
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Capizzi?
You said that was a yes.
All righty, Mrs. Dunn? Mr. Pareto?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo? And Mr. Petrosi?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Personnel report classified. Motion, please. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Tony, on the second. Any questions? Question, Rob? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Capizzi? Yes. Mrs. Dunn? Mr. Cadella? I'm assuming is a yes.
He's a
Mr.
yes.
Pareto?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo? And Mr. Petrosi?
Yes, thank you very much. 408 and 409 together. Report from the Committee on Special Ed and the report from the Committee on Preschool Special Ed. Motion, please. Thanks, Rob.
Second.
Thank you, Tony. Questions? Call the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you. Short-term contracts 4.1. Short-term contract number 1, Rick Rogers, Lumber City. Number 2, Elizabeth Bell, along with number 3, Elizabeth Bell. And number 4, Autumn Syracuse for the aquarium. Motion. Thank you, Rob. Second, Nick. Questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Wilson? Yes. Mr. Capizzi? Mrs. Dunn? Mr. Pareto?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo? Mr. Petrosi?
Yes, thank you very much. 411 is the Head Start and Early Head Start reports. Thank you, Nick. Second, Rob. Questions? Call the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you. New business, unfinished business, we do not have any. We'll start with new business, 601 and 602. 01 is the receipt of gift from the teacher's desk, and 02 is the acceptance of funds for the ESA Title III grant. Rob, thank you. Second, Tony. Questions? Call the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
Thank you. 6.03 is the approval of the corrective action plan. Thank you, Nick. Rob, questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Wilson? Yes. Mr. Capizzi? Mrs. Dunn? Mr. Pareto?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo? Mr. Petrosi?
Yes. Thank you. 604 to 606. These are for our safety plans. 604 is the approval of the filing of the proposed district code of conduct. 605 is the approval of the filing of summary of building level school safety plans. 606 is the approval of the filing of proposed comprehensive district-wide school safety plan and dates for these items. The filing is on April 26th. The public hearing is on May 8th at 6:30. Board action will be on June 20th. Any questions on that? Those are just clarifications on, as these items will take place. No questions. Any question? Motion, please. Nick, Rob, questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bilson? Mr. Capizzi? Mrs. Dunn? Mr. Pareto?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo? Mr. Petrosi?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Thank you. 607 is the agreement with Niagara County and the Board of Elections for our election in May. Yes. Thank you, sir. Rob, and second by Nick. Questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bass? I'm sorry, Mr. Bilson? Mr. Capizzi? Mrs. Dunn? Mr. Pareto?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo? Mr. Petrosi?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was 608, approval of the health service fees for non-resident private parochial schools. Thanks, Rob. Nick on the second. Questions? Call the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
Thank you. I just want to mention that these items we've been working on all month. I'm going through them rather quickly, but we spend a lot of time on these. I don't want anyone to think they're new. 609 to 618. These are various payments.
Move.
Well, I gotta read them. Sorry. 609, payment number 2, Scafari. 6.1, payment number 2 to Danforth. 6.11, number 2, payment to Danforth. 6.12, payment to Fry Electric. 6.13, payment number 2 to Start Tech. Number 6.14, payment number 1 to Johnson Controls, along with 6.15, payment number 10 to CIR Electric. 6.16, payment number 9, DV Brown. 6.17, payment number 4 to Johnson Controls. And last but not least, 6.18, payment number 1 to Johnson Controls again. Motion by Rob, second by Tony. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bilson? Mr. Capizzi? Mrs. Dunn? Mr. Pareto?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo? And Mr. Petrosi?
Yes, thank you. Okay, we have a workplace violence prevention program. I need a motion, and I'm going to need a motion to waive. Motion, bring it in. Second, Rob. Okay, I need a motion to waive the 30-day tabling fee, the tabling time. Moved by Tony, second by Nick. Call the roll to waive the 30-day.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Waived.
Thank you. Motion to accept the policy as written. Thank you, Nick.
Second.
Second, Tony. Questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bilson? Mr. Capizzi? Mrs. Dunn? Mr. Pareto?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo? Mr. Petrosi?
Yes, thank you very much. I do have some speakers on non-agenda items. I will call them up. 3 minutes. I'll let you know 2 minutes, 30 seconds that you have 30 seconds left and ask you to please sum up. We have Michael Barksdale first. Name and address and who you might represent, please. Dr. Tina Schultz will be next.
Microphone check, 321, 123, is this thing on?
Yes.
Good evening, I'm Michael Barksdale.
Good evening.
Independence Avenue, Niagara Falls, New York. I am here representing Niagara Community Information Group. As I shared first time I came up, I am a product of the Niagara Falls school system. I would say a proud product. But as of late, I've been grieved looking at the data, hearing feedback from the community of where we're at as a district. Really troubled by the report card that was recently released, that whereas only 19% of our children, grades 3 through 5, are reading at grade level. 19%. I was looking around and it was just under 19 people that left. And that's a small number that are succeeding in this school district. I mean, we're doing a lot of great things, but we're missing a large portion of our children. And it's very troubling. And I understand, Mr. Laurie, earlier you were getting emotional. As I'm getting emotional about this. You know, I see my cousins and children that are at church that can't read, struggling in school. And I just want to be a part of the solution. And as being part of the solution, I spend hours weekly doing research, looking for solutions, strategies to help the district to get better. But this week, I ended up on our very own website where we talk about the philosophy, the vision, and the mission of the Niagara Falls City School District. And I came up with a few questions. It starts off with, says, learning for all, whatever it takes. What does that really mean? What does it even look like? Has it even been implemented? How does the public know it is being achieved? Then we go to the vision of the Niagara Falls City School District, is to be a world-class quality organization educating all students for life. Is there a plan? And if it is, what is our plan to move to #1 in the county or even #1 in the state? The mission. Upon reading the mission of the Niagara Falls Board of Education, which is to guarantee educational excellence by creating strategic goals which will be monitored, analyzed, assessed, and evaluated, utilizing the quality process and ensure customer satisfaction. So, guarantee educational excellence. How is this happening? Monitoring. Who is performing this task?
30 seconds.
Who's analyzing? What is being analyzed? How is the educational excellence assessed? When does this take place? And which quality process is being utilized? And then we go into the strategic goals. Question is, are these goals SMART, meaning specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time, meaning there's a time limit on when we're going to accomplish these things. So on behalf of NSEG, I want to thank you for this oral communication, but I will be following up with a written communication because we need answers so we can help make a difference and change things in this community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Tina Schultz, please.
Good evening, board members, central office staff. I'm Dr. Tina Schultz. I am the founder and CEO of the Niagara Community Information Group. I live in Lockport, but I have about 2,000 members, family members that live and work here in Niagara Falls, and a granddaughter. So I'm very much, and I lived here for all my life. So I'm here talking about the Niagara Community Information Group. We're a community advocacy group that addresses the voice concerns of underserved, vulnerable, proven risk, and oppressed populations here in the Niagara County region. This is addressed through information sharing, mentoring, and education. The Niagara Community Information Group is on mission to emancipate those who were once voiceless, enabling them to find their voice and become equipped, empowered, and engaged in their own advocacy. NSIG's next community meeting will be at 6:30 on Monday evening, May 6th, at the Harriet Tubman Heritage Center. At that time, we will continue to discuss district literacy and math rates. We will review student report card information, and we will discuss voter registration and action. The Niagara Community Information Group is always looking for opportunities to work with the district. In fact, we're soliciting information from the district central office for our May 6th meeting regarding report cards. It will help provide parents with the clarification that they have requested. NSIG is also in the process of arranging a forum which will provide candidates who are pursuing a position on the Niagara Falls City School Board an opportunity to present their platforms. As always, members of the Niagara Falls School Board are invited to assist us in addressing the expressed concerns of Niagara the Niagara Falls community. It is NCIG's vision to have a strong and inclusive community where all voices are heard and valued, and it's a community that won't just talk about it, but one that will be about it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Jackie Castillo Blaber. And if I said that incorrectly, please correct me.
Castillo. Castillo Blaber, sorry. Thank you. Hello, Jackie Blaber, 38th Street. Good evening, board members. You usually see my husband here, but I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce myself to the board members. I'm here representing our newly formed special education PTA group. So I am a district parent. I have 2 children receiving special education services. I am extremely passionate about special education, literacy, and the unique needs of Title I districts. Like I said, we recently started a district-wide special education PTA. We're currently 37 members strong and growing. We cover every age group, every school in the district, and every setting, including schools, therapeutic schools outside the district where students are transported. I wanted to take the time to thank Superintendent Lori and Ms. Mateer and all of CSE for all of their support and encouragement. We just had our second meeting. We meet the 3rd Monday of every month, and SEPTA's goal is to create community support and a seat at the table for special education students and their families. Nothing about us without us. We look forward to fostering productive dialogue and positive 2-way communication with each and every one of you. We look forward to getting to know all of our board members and work towards our common goal of a district where students of all abilities can reach their full potential. Thank you. That's all. Thanks.
Saying that was our last speaker. Moving on to information and reports. I will start with you, Superintendent Lori.
Thank you very much. First of all, I try my best to address the speakers, even though I can't get into all the answers at this time. I just want to clarify something. Mr. Barksdale is a proud graduate of Trott Vocational, and he's got 22 pictures hanging around the building here because he was on a state championship basketball team. Did you play?
Yes, sir. Starting power forward.
How many points a game did you average? I was just putting you on the spot. Yeah, I was just putting you on the spot, but you were on that Trott championship team. Yeah, so you are a graduate of Trott. Remember Trott. I just wanted to address a couple of words I heard through all 3 speakers that I really appreciated. I heard assist. I heard positive productivity. I heard just do it. I pulled clips from the words. I like those words very much. I heard advocacy. I like those words very much. That gives me a sense and a hope and a spirit of working together. So you had a lot of good words, but I particularly heard those, and I appreciate those. I want to also tell you that we will work together with you, and that we appreciate you for being here. And I really like the idea of some written comments, written questions coming forward. The only thing I'll guarantee is that you'll have answers, and we'll go from there with those. So thank you very much. Mrs. Blaber, Castillo Blaber, thank you for your work on the parent group, special ed parent group. 2 meetings, 37 people is a pretty good poll. It's a pretty good poll, really it is. We've got a lot of them, but I like something that you said, that you're there to advocate for solutions and for help, and to give the parents a chance to be an outlet, make positive change, and that you would work with us on the issues that we need to resolve. So thanks for I didn't do anything, you took the initiative. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate your leadership in that. And I really like how you and the other parents run the meetings. That's called ownership. It's called ownership of from problem to solution. We will certainly look forward to working, assisting, positive productivity, and just doing it, because I don't think that meeting just to meet, to admire, to talk about, we got to just do it. Might be a good slogan for Nike to pick up if they haven't already. Just do it once you get to the most informed decisions. So thank you for coming, for speaking. Thank you for taking action. The great action that's already taken place is the formulation of that group, who seems to have a lot of good legs and stamina. So I'm really happy. I'm really happy about that. Really happy. A lot of kudos here. A lot of kudos. So I want to get these out right now. There are 23 schools in Western New York participated in the Stock Market Challenge. Junior Achievement put this on. 23 schools participated. Niagara Falls High School took first place. They took the Stock Market Bull Trophy. I know Mr. Capizzi will be tutored by these students very soon, but I want to congratulate Steve Barthra, Lyric Hamilton, Caden DePadre, Robin Yo Robin, first place in the Western New York Stock Market Challenge. They know something about what's going on, and they are not just 12th graders, so it's pretty cool. Teacher Giulio Colangelo is the advisor. We also had two other teams from high school. They came in 7th and 11th. So good use of money, good use of knowledge, good use of financial literacy. Media production teacher Rocco Strangio and his 20 to 21 media production students produced a 46-minute eclipse documentary that was shown Tuesday evening at the Niagara Falls Public Library. 50 people were in attendance. The New York State Senate has reached out to me about showing the students, the Niagara Falls High School students' video to the New York State Senate, which I think is a pretty great accomplishment for our media students. May 1st, the foundation dinner next Wednesday at Antonio's Restaurant. The foundation has grown to where they will give 23 academic scholarships of $2,000 or more to 23 Niagara Falls High School students, and they will recognize Andrea Brown Gray, she is the president of the United Way, and Mark Grozio, a former, I believe he's an electrician, for their dedicated service to Niagara Falls and to the district. They will be the chosen distinguished alumni at that dinner. I failed to mention this when the kids were here. We had all of the HBCU students, we had the Disney students, and we had the Ghana students. We just took 17 students to Puerto Rico. Last week, 17 Niagara Falls High School students went to Puerto Rico, and these were Spanish 4 students who learned to use their Spanish in Puerto Rico, but they went as well. Don't forget May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at 7 o'clock in the Performing Arts Center of Niagara Falls High School, 12 Angry Jurors by our Niagara Proscenium players will be displayed. Today I received word that one of our CALFAS teachers, an ENL, English as a New Language teacher named Mallory Leo. Some of you may remember the Walk the World program that they did with 50 countries. Mallory Leo has been recognized as the Teacher Leader of the Year by the Western Auburn Association. She teaches at our CALFAS school, and she will be honored May 31st at a dinner at Erie 1 BOCES. I think those are really great accomplishments for the students of the district. Last week, I thought that Richard and team gave a really, really great presentation on the F-code budget. I'm sure you all remember that. One thing that really struck me this, I think it was Wednesday, Maria, a professional assistant day. You know, Richard, Rick, the whole team over there does a lot of work, but my personal professional assistant, Barbara Dodds, really is the linchpin of all of those grants and pulling them together, recording them. And I often say she knows more about Title I, Title II-A, Title III, Title IV than the state does, because she made a bad decision working with me 20 years ago, and when I did it with her, and she did all the work for me at that time. Now she at least gets a little bit of help, but I missed acknowledging her, and I wanted to publicly acknowledge her and thank her this week when we're celebrating professional assistants, but most importantly for her work on the F codes and the grant budget. I apologize for that miss and want to thank her for her work. Lastly, I want to thank the board for accepting all of those resolutions. I think we've got a little bit of work with that cap that we talked about, nothing that we can't do, but the budget's final. Now the work lays out there, and we have to get the public out to vote on the 21st. Polls are open between 11 and 8 on that day. There are 2 board seats up, and it's hard to say this without referencing other districts, but you can see what a struggle this budget has been in some other places. And y'all made it easy here. Y'all took a risk. I think it was a good risk with reserves because you all put the kids first and made a decision to support everything they need. So I really thank you, board, for that budget work, and we got it done. We got a little bit of help, not all the help we really wanted, but I think that when all's said and done, we're going to come out okay. So thank you very much. We appreciate you. Our next meeting, just so that the public knows this, is not on a Thursday. It's on a Wednesday, May 8th. And that is a social emotional learning night, and it's a public hearing on safety plans that we must go through, and that will be the gist of the meeting. And then the following meeting, and I know Judy will correct that, it's my fault, I put Wednesday, it's Thursday the 16th. The next 2 meetings come up pretty quick, and they're in the middle of the month. 8th is a Wednesday, 16th is a Thursday. Those are the main meetings. Once again, thank you very much, members of the board. Wait a minute. No, it's a young lady called Maria. Wait a minute. One of the 8 weird jurors. Wait a minute. That was not cleared. Yeah, she was good. She's going to follow me up. Maria, are you in the, seriously, I did not know that. Are you in the play?
I am, and so is Mr. Sanders. And so is Mr. Del Porto. And Mrs. Del Porto. And Courtney Whitney.
What?
Jackie Drowsky.
What? Yeah, she doesn't have enough to do. Wait a minute, Sanders is in the play. Nadrowski's a really good, great kid, teacher assistant. Del Porto?
Chief Del Porto, Mrs. Del Porto, and Evan Del Porto.
And you? Are you playing a role in the play? Do you have lines? What? Not.
Any singing?
Did you know about this, Earl?
I did not.
Rick? Stan? No one knew about this, Maria? We'll be meeting in my office at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. What the heck is
We
going on?
don't get asked to do fun things like that.
I did not, I swear to, I did not know that. They asked me to be in a play. They asked me to be in the last play. I said, what am I going to be? They said a tree. You got a speaking part? Oh, what? Meeting at 9. Anybody from the table is invited to my office tomorrow morning. Go. Sorry, guys. Thanks. Wow. Maria. Okay. Wow. Sorry. Ray.
Only the chosen few get.
Ray, you're invited too. Did you know, Ray? All right. Okay.
Well, good
Thank
luck.
you very much.
Great.
I think we should go to every single night. Let's show up at every single night. Wow. All right. All right, let's go. Sorry, Russ.
It's okay.
My God.
Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah,
It's a great
break a leg, I guess.
That's what they say.
Not literally, because you got to come to work the next day. I'll be watching the productivity in the human resources office now. Okay, yeah, the calendar better be done, the staffing better be done by the play's end, okay? I'm kidding.
Good luck.
Sorry,
Thank you.
Russ.
It's okay. Mr. Nick Villardo.
Yeah, that was a great presentation tonight. We had 3 great presentations tonight, what our students are doing. And I have to agree on the governor's budget, the funding, and she's wrong when she states there's not enough seats being filled. There's more seats being filled because of the immigrations that are coming into the state.
That's true.
And we're dealing with a different population, and language difficulties and everything else. So we need more funding than less.
It's a good point.
Going. Okay. And the other thing is with the budget, I think the staff, Mr. Laurie and Becky and Julie and the rest of the staff and this board standing behind the recommendations. We had this budget passed, we're using our savings, and we're not losing a teacher, we're not losing a cleaner, we're not losing any programs. So I think it's a great tribute to the board as a whole. And I agree with that. And everybody knows I'm very animated about our reading programs and expanding them. We had talked last week, or last meeting rather, that a lot of parents have problems reading. Right. We read to our kids every night after dinner. That was one of our routines, nightly routine after dinner. We'd sit and we'd read half an hour, however long our kids wanted to read, and we stayed with them. And I think we have to get our parents that can't read some learning. Maybe we can even partner up with the library and get reading programs going for our adults so that these children can enjoy the joy of reading and learning.
I agree.
And it'll help in their schools, I think. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. Mr. Robert Bilson.
Oh,
I'm
I'm sorry, Rob.
Go ahead, Nick.
I pulled a Rob. I'm sorry. One more thing. We went to the convention in New Orleans, the National School Board Convention. I just have some material. I'm going to drop it off to you, Mark.
Thank you.
There's a couple interesting things in here, and things. One of it's about these new safety features for helmets for a football team. Yeah, they're not the best looking, but I guess they're really it fits over the top of the helmet.
The shell on top, yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with them, but I have some information about
I've
it if you
seen
want to
them.
look.
You know what? I am interested in purchasing them. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, I have the information. It's right on top here.
You know what those are? 20 of the shells they were on the top. Yeah, I really would like to see that. I'd be interested in that.
Especially for practice.
Yes.
Please send that out to the board, Mark, if you don't mind.
I will.
Thank you. Anything else, Nick? Thank you. Mr. Robert Bilson.
Reporting for duty, it sounds like, Russ. Mr. Robert Bilson. What wonderful presentations and what a really interesting difference between the three, and all three extremely impactful. As most of you know who are in business, Disney has set the standard with customer service, and they do a lot of presentations across the country for many different types of industries. And I've had the pleasure of being involved in one of them, and it was insightful, impactful, and the fact that our students got to go to Disney on site and experience the wonder of it in general, and the impact that learning provides is really great, and appreciative of that. Ghana, again, wasn't as fantastic as the congas and bongos that we played last time, if I remember correctly. I'm just joking, but that was a great time, and it was nice to hear that they had another wonderful trip, and very impactful, and the words from everybody that was involved were exciting to hear. And the students that visited the HBCU, another impactful trip for them, and kudos to the board and the district for sending them, and great job on the budget. Everything Nick said, fantastic. And hope you all have a great night. And off to you, Russ.
Thanks, Rob. Mr. Michael Capizzi.
Good job, everybody. Enjoy the draft. That's all I got.
Go Bills.
Go Bills. Mrs. Clara Dunn.
I need about 15 minutes.
No, I'm joking. I don't have anything to say. And I was at the nail shop and I didn't hear a darn thing.
Oh, God.
Now I have
We're going
much
to
to
close
say.
that place down. You didn't hear about who's in the play? No, I'm kidding. With the nail, okay, okay.
Thank you, Clara. Mr. Paul Cadella, are you still with us, Paul? Okay, if he comes back, we'll let him go last. Mr. Tony Pareto.
Again, congratulations to those wonderful 3 groups that got to experience so much stuff. Very proud to be able to, send them, and it looks like they had an educational advantage, not advantage, but experience, and it just, makes me feel nice and warm inside to know that, a lot of other districts don't get to do that stuff, but we do. And it's a credit to my colleagues here and our staff. And again, go Bills.
Thank you, Tony. Paul, did you get reestablished? Okay. I'll be very brief. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, presenters. Thank you, staff. The budget is done. It could have been worse. Thank God we had some savings. We'll get through it. We have some tough years ahead. I'm really thinking that we have some real tough years. We will manage. We always do. Saying that, I would like to say goodnight, and I would like to read a couple of names, unfortunately, that are no longer with us. Beatrice Beyer, mother of Butch Beyer. David Deanna, cousin of Mr. Laurie and Mr. Matthew Laurie. Robert Creighton, grandfather of Jalissa Creighton. Celeste Jaganowski, a school monitor at at High Park, school monitor at High Park. Saying that, motion for agenda, please. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Rob. Pardon me? Adjournment. Did I say agenda? I'm sorry. It's been a long night. It's motion for adjournment. Second. All in favor?
All right.
Good night, everybody. Thank you all.